Hello and welcome to the BASN Academy Student News. I'm Lexi Bisson.
And I'm Trey Archambault.
Coming up on today's top stories, dance team auditions are today after school, Seattle's public is welcoming same-sex couples with open arms, and Egypt is protesting yet again.
But first, Lexi, what's going on here at BASN?
Dance team auditions will be today after school for their competition season. If you are interested, you should have signed up in the office. If not, do so today before 2:15.
Scores of same-sex couples crowded Seattle City Hall for a day of wedding ceremonies on Sunday, the first day they could marry after the state's voter-approved gay marriage law took effect. While numerous weddings were taking place across the state, both public and private, the City Hall weddings were the largest public event, with about 140 couples taking part. The city set up 5 separate chapels to accommodate the revelers. Starting at 10 a.m., cheers and applause regularly broke out as another couple's marriage became official. Weddings at City Hall were to continue through 5 p.m. After the couples married, they exited City Hall, greeted by a steady rain and dozens of supporters who cheered them on with shouts of congratulations and flowers as they descended the large staircase down to the street.
President Barack Obama's inauguration committee is accepting corporate donations to help fund the parade and other events associated with his January 21st inauguration after trapped-out Democratic donors spent huge sums helping him get elected. Aides from the Presidential Inaugural Committee confirmed it would accept money from individual and unconstitutional givers to help cover the cost of public events not paid for taxpayers. Our goal is to make sure that we will meet the fundraising requirements for this civic event after the most expensive presidential campaign in history, Addie Winsnett, a committee spokeswoman, said in a statement. To ensure continued transparency, all names of donors will be posted to a regulatory updated website.
Florida is announcing a new plan to reduce the cost of tuition in several in-demand job fields. In the fields of engineering, sciences, and medical care, Florida's state universities would freeze tuition for the next 3 years. These majors may vary based on supply and demand of jobs. However, students could soon pay less for some of the most expensive classes on campus than for some liberal arts courses.
Egypt's opposition National Salvation Front says it will boycott the vote on the new constitution, arguing it is impossible against the background of Muslim Brotherhood intimidation. The referendum was grossly irresponsible, it claimed. President Mohamed Morsi's decision to rescind most of the controversial, awarding himself sweeping powers, has failed to stem the wave of protests against him. In Cairo, protesters demonstrated defiance with a march on the presidential palace, now heavily guarded by the army and surrounded by a cement wall. The opposition calls for fresh protests while insisting it still recognized Dr. Morsi as the elected president.
Closely contested presidential poll with 50.7% of the vote, the country's electoral commission announced on Sunday night. Mr. Mohammed, 54, narrowly defeated his main challenger, Nana Akufo-Addo, who secured 47.7% of the vote. Before the results were published, Mr. Akufo-Addo, New Patriotic Party, claimed the vote was marred by fraud.
North Korea may postpone the controversial launch of a long-range rocket that had been slated for liftoff as early as this week, state media said Sunday, as international pressure on Pyongyang to cancel the provocative move intensified. Scientists have been pushing forward with final preparations for the launch from a West Coast site, slated to take place as early as Monday, but are considering readjusting the timing, an unidentified spokesperson for the Korean Committee for the Space Technology told North Korea's state-run Korean Central News Agency. It was unclear whether the diplomatic intervention or technical glitches were behind the delay. A brief KCNA dispatch and scientists and technicians were discussing whether to set a new launch date, but did not elaborate.
An unmanned U.S. drone has killed another senior leader of al-Qaeda in the area near the border with Pakistan. Sheikh Abu Ziyad al-Kuwaiti was killed by a missile slamming into the side of his house. Al-Kuwaiti replaced the former second-in-command, Abu Yahya al-Libi, after he was killed in another drone strike in the same region. Drone strikes have taken out many senior officials of the terrorist group in the past few years. Some think these drone strikes should stop because they are too secretive, and it is difficult to determine the number of civilian casualties.
I'm Lexi Bisson.
And I'm Trey Archambault.
That's all for today for Monday, December 10th.
Please join us again tomorrow during lunch for the most reliable and up-to-date news.
And remember that you can watch us online at youtube.com/BA Student News.